Hey guys, welcome back. It's me, Kadesh with Catholic Pipes. Ugh, just got some bowl coating on my arm. It's sticky. Alrighty. But for today, I have a very special video because it's a special project. In the pipe world and in the art world in general, you have collaborations. Now, what is the point of a collaboration? Well, when it comes to collaborations, the whole entire point, as it suggests, is collaborating. But what does that mean for the art? That's the question. What does a collaboration mean in terms of the art? Well, what it means is simply this. Gotta get my handy dandy little pipe ashtray out to clean out my pipe. That was one thing a lot of people said, is that I don't smoke my pipe enough for the videos. Fair enough. So that's the first change I'm gonna immediately make for this New Year's, make sure that I have my pipe more involved. But collaborations, what are they? Well, what the point of a collaboration is you're taking two different art styles or two different aesthetics and you are blending them together. So that's why when you see collaborations, people kind of freak out or get really excited about collaborations wherever they may be happening, because usually it's two of the person's favorite artists or groups or whatever coming together to create a singular work of art that is influenced by both. And that's what people get excited about. What is it going to look like? What is it going to sound like? I love this artist. I love that artist. And usually the end product, more often than not, is pretty awesome, especially for the people who kind of enjoy the two or multiple artists that came together to work on this singular piece of art. And so that's what I want to do for this video, is I want to bring you guys into the collaborative process a little bit. But first, kind of let me give you an example. So there is a pipe maker by the name of Grant Batson. Kind of here's an example of his work. And cue pipe picture montage now. All right. As you can kind of see from his various works, that he's very creative, has a lot of interesting angles, colors, proportions, symmetry, asymmetry. Very gifted pipe maker, very fast pipe maker too, if I may add. That's one of the things that's, blows people away about this guy, is that he can crank out a pipe pretty quick and it's amazing. All right, so there's that. So there's Grant, amazing pipe maker. People love his work. People are big fans of Grant's work. And then he took a trip out to Denmark several years ago to go visit the world famous pipe maker, Tom Elting. Now, cue Tom Elting's pipe montage now. Here we go. All right. And then now you can kind of see Tom Elting's very classic Danish aesthetic. He's got very clean, crisp lines. Even some of his more creative work is still very clean and crisp. But what's to be noticed is his finish work, his contrast stains, the colors that he uses, how bright, deep, and vibrant they are. Also a very fun and creative pipe maker and a legend in the pipe community. A lot of phenomenal pipe makers across the world and in the States have gone to visit Tom Elting to help elevate their pipe making skills. All right, so now we're back. So Grant went out to Denmark, like I said, several years ago. And in that process, he ended up collaborating with Tom Elting to create what they called Battangs, Batson and Eling. So they were a line of, I think, three pipes or so that Tom Elting and Grant Batson collaborated on to create these stunning works. And so here's, once again, pipe montage of the pipe tangs, or bat tangs. Here you go. Now, as you can kind of see, like we'll stay on these for a little moment. You can definitely see the influence of both makers in these singular pipes. You can see the creativity in the line choices from Grant. You can see the amazing finish work. You can see the hard, crisp lines from Elting himself, even down to the stem work. So this is kind of a really cool collaboration between the two of them. So what does that bring us to today? Why are we talking about pipes collaborations right now? Well, I reached out to two pipe makers who are good friends, and I said if they wanted to collaborate. Not bad. It's really nice. Smoking the I know I'm all over the place, but I'm smoking the 20th anniversary. I don't know if you can see that. XX Flake Dark from Cornell and Deal. So it's a special blend of stoved and unstoved red Virginias, bright leaf, and 18-year-old Perique. This is tin 2,334 of 5,000 tins that were made. And it is from 2020. It's got about 5 years on it. It smelled out, very nice, very dark, rich flavor. Some sweetness and kind of a little bit of a campfire flavor to it that I'm actually really liking. Ooh, very nice. Oh, and by the way, I'm smoking it in the St. Nicholas Bing Crosby pipe. Love this pipe, actually. I know, forgive me as I detour a little bit, but love the pipe. The length is awesome. Very lightweight. Great smoke. I'm not really one for, you know, mass-produced pipes to some extent, or even factory or whatever, but I would say that the work that I put into these guys really paid off. Super comfortable, super cool smoke, and I think the length helps cool the smoke down before it gets to your mouth. But a very pleasurable, very enjoyable smoke. Very happy with this guy. So, I mean, if you guys are out there watching, go ahead, bust out your Christmas pipe for those who bought them, and, you know, give it a smoke while we're going through this collaborative process together. So I reached out to two pipe makers. Jared Coles, cue montage of Jared's work. Ah, there we go. See that Jared very much loves the organic, fun, freehand shapes. I actually got to go out many years ago and spend some time in Jared's shop and work on pipes with him. At that point in time, it was very much still in that apprenticeship learning role. And so I learned a lot from him. Really great stuff. And then other one, Jeremiah Sundahl. Cue montage of Jeremiah's work. All right. And with Jeremiah, as you can see, he steps more into the classic realm. So he does like to do some freehand stuff every now and then, but his bread and butter are really the classic shapes, and he does them so well. And he does a really great job of incorporating different materials, color schemes, for a much more, like I said, classy and straightforward and classic look to his pipes. And so here's what the collaborative process is going to look like. So for my own work, I love to work with bamboo. That's one of the things that I am really well known for, is how much bamboo work I produce, and really fun bamboo inspired pipes. So much so, I think it was in 2000, I want to say 16 or 17, there was a carving contest, a national carving contest, where they would give out a theme and they'd pick the top 7. Not like first place through 7th, but just 7 winners that stood out amongst all the entries. And then they would put them in a custom-made display, and then that would get raffled off to the people who bought raffle tickets. I think it was in 2017, I believe. The theme was bamboo, and yours truly was one of the top 7 carvers in North America for bamboo pipes. So, love bamboo. But furthermore, not just loving bamboo, I actually love to harvest my own bamboo locally, which allows me to get wonderful, gnarly, color interesting pieces of bamboo. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go through my stash. All right, I'm gonna go through my stash and I'm gonna pick out 2 pieces of bamboo, 1 for each maker. I'm going to drill them out and get them prepped, and then I'm gonna send them off to the makers. And I'm gonna pick each one based upon their strengths. And not only that, but maybe some pieces that I think would be a little bit challenging for them to work around. So when I send it off to them, what they're going to do is they're going to create the bowl for the pipe. All right, they're going to create the bowl. They're going to create the, they're going to drill it out, and then they're going to send it back to me. And then I'm going to assemble the rest of the pipe. So I'm going to merge the pieces together, going to create the stems for them, and I think even go as far as finishing the pipes as well. So coloring them, finishing them, and then doing what I think would be best for the shape. So they're going to go ahead and pretty much essentially give me their aesthetic and utilize, and I'm going to attach the bamboo that I picked out from my personal collection. And then I'll design the stem, I'll design and then pick the color or the texture that I think best suits the grain, the pipe, the shape. And then we will have 2 pipes. There were a collaboration between 3 artists essentially, but both of them sharing one artist, which will be me in terms of the finish and the stem work. I don't know exactly what we'll do with them at the end, whether we'll raffle them off here or bring them to a show, but I'm going to keep you guys updated. So next, let me go ahead and show you guys the bamboo and what I think is going to be best for each one of the prospective pipe makers. Now this will be an ongoing series, so make sure you subscribe, you like, and you put your notifications on, because as we go through the process, I'm going to be having each one of these prospective pipe makers sending me footage of them in the design process, and I'm going to go ahead and start putting those together in each video series. So this one is going to be the picking of the bamboo, the collaborative process, and then the next video that comes out will be a collaborative video where I show you what each one of them has done. All right, and I'll kind of give my commentary, my thoughts on where I think it's going, or you know, how excited I am, and kind of give you my thoughts in terms of the work that's being done. The third video will be when I receive them, the work that I do, and then my thought process on what I think is going to be best for the pipe, what finish, what color, even stem design. And then the final video will be the 2 pipes unveiled, what they look like when they are completely done. So I think this will be a really fun and engaging series for you guys. I hope you guys really enjoy it. With that being said, I need you guys to come with me now so we can go take a look at the bamboo collection and figure out what do we need to get, what pieces each pipe maker is going to receive. All right, guys, come on, let's go. All right, now we're looking for Jeremiah Sundahl. Now, I know that he really does like that his aesthetic is very much, like I said, classic and straightforward, but that would be too easy to just pick out a solid color, straight piece of bamboo. So we want to have something that's got some flair to it, but not too much that, you know, we end up creating too many creative roadblocks. So we got to make sure we pick a piece that is unique to my collection. All right, so let's see here. Dang, we got so much going on here. So I think this is the piece we're going to go with. All right. To share some sort of motif. It's definitely going to be the bamboo. So we go over here. Got this nice piece. Same thing, it's kind of spalted. But this one is definitely thinner and more dainty. So I think this one I'm going to give to Jared. I think I'm going to go ahead and probably cut it right about here. I might even go a knuckle up. But I'll decide, because I think that this length, I think, is really fun. And of course, Jared has more whimsical, organic, freehand shaping. So I think giving him a piece that has its own aesthetic to it with this long wispiness will be very interesting to see how he incorporates his design, extra knuckle along with it. So if you see right here, when we are cutting our bamboo, let me put this. So this is something really important. When we're cutting bamboo, or at least when I cut bamboo, and I have this length here, there's a couple things I have to be aware of. Is curve. Can I get a straight drill bit through it on either side? Or is the curve too extreme? If so, then I've got to shorten the curve. So with this one, there is a nice curve on this one, and then it goes straight. So when I look here and I'm thinking about length, one issue I might think about is if the bamboo is rather long and it has a continuous curve throughout it, there's a high possibility I may not be able to drill it. So if we notice with this one, it's kind of like a French curve. It kind of the curve starts here and then it flattens out. So that means that I can probably get a straight line through these 3 knuckles. 1, 2, 3. You can kind of see there's a straight line that runs through them, and then one straight line there. So we'd be meeting somewhere here. So I can definitely drill this out. 2 straight lines will fit through it perfectly. So I said originally I was thinking about these 3 right here, but I like the spacing of this knuckle with how short it is. Once I drill down a collar, you know, you'll have the darkness will be fading into the black stem. So I think that'd be a really cool aesthetic. It'll look, the stem saddle will look, there'll be the illusion of it looking longer than it really is. That's how short this is. So I like that idea. Also, when I'm cutting, I have to remember that when we're using bamboo, we have got to cut a sleeve. So I always make sure that I cut a little bit more than I need to make sure I have enough material to trim down a sleeve and still maintain the original look that I was going for. So for instance, if I say, oh, I want my stem to start like right here, like in the middle of the knuckle, that's where I want the bamboo to end and I want the stem to continue on. Well, if I cut exactly where I want it to be, then I have to trim down a little bit to make the collar to secure the bamboo. And so now my original proportions are off. So if I want to cut it right in the middle, I'm going to kind of go up by about maybe 1/4 inch and cut there. So that way I have all the necessary material to make my collar. This is especially helpful, not just in terms of your aesthetics, but for instance, let's say you have a piece that looks like this, where it really mushrooms out, right? When it really mushrooms out like that, you don't want to be making your collar and your stem from there because the angles are too wide. You want to make sure that your stem starts where the bamboo straightens out, and then you create that curve in your saddle. So for something like this right here, I might cut it a little bit into the I'm going to cut it a little bit into the what we call this, the flare right here. So I'm going to cut a little bit into the flare. I'm going to save some of that flare because once I trim it down, I can trim it down to right where that knuckle starts to straighten out. So now I have my collar and the stem is going to be starting from exactly where I want it to be, right? So don't try to immediately just kind of cut that flare out. Cut into the flare and then trim down to where that bamboo starts to straighten out. So I cut it right here. Perfect. Got that all nice, clean cut. Look at that guiding hole right there for us for drilling. I hope you guys all enjoyed the video. I'm excited to see what Jeremiah and Jared will do with these pieces of bamboo that I'm going to send out to them. So make sure you like, you subscribe, and turn on your notifications so you can be up to date when these videos and other ones are dropping on the Catholic Pipes YouTube channel. Anyway, this is goodbye, and I hope all of you have a blessed weekend.